Hey guys, welcome to the Help People Podcast. We're so excited for you to be here with us. My name is Joel. I am the host of this podcast. This is my lovely wife, Jordan.
Hi.
So we're here today. We're going to have some fun, talk through some things. But first, I just wanted to let you guys know that we deleted the Help People Podcast YouTube account so that we could post on Just the Allens YouTube account. We're bringing everything that we do as a family together into one account. That goes for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. So yeah, Just the Allens on YouTube, Just the Allens on TikTok, Just the Allens on Instagram. We're super excited. I even deleted my own Instagram so that I could really focus on our family Instagram. So if you saw that I wasn't following you or you didn't see me at all on Instagram, I didn't block you. I didn't hide my account. I didn't do anything like that. I literally deleted my account because I just was wasting too much time on there and not focusing on working on our brand and on our content. So we are super excited, and I'm going to dive in real quick to a little Q&A with my wife, kind of off the cuff. Nothing serious. We're just going to get to know her a little bit. This is her first time on the podcast. She's a little nervous, so make her feel at home with your little comments. So I know this is going to be good, but your name's Jordan.
Yes.
How long has your name been Jordan? I'm just kidding.
25.
I'm just kidding.
Almost 26
Yeah,
years.
so you're 25, almost 26. You'll be 26 on February 20th, right?
Yep.
And we're actually going to Tahoe for her for
Maybe.
26.
We'll see.
Hopefully, we're gonna try to work it out.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you grew up, where you grew up, and your dreams and your goals and your aspirations.
Oh no, that's a lot. Okay, my name is Jordan, and my name has been Jordan for 25 years. No. Okay. Born and raised in Sacramento, California. Been here my whole life. Went to public school my whole life. Was a dancer for many years. I got saved at the age of 13 years old, and I rededicated my life to the Lord at 19 years old. That's really when I said goodbye to my old life, and I've just been pressing forward ever since. I worked at a coffee shop for many years, and I've even worked for an eye doctor randomly. I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom now for over 2 years. I've been doing that. But before that, I went to Bible college. I had a lot of aspirations of working in ministry. And I still do, and I'm still excited to do those things. But right now, I know that God has called me to be at home with my babies, who I love so much, who I'm sure you guys see a whole bunch about. So that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dreams and aspirations, I don't know yet.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Figuring
that part out.
But yeah, so that's awesome, babe. And I know that as a stay-at-home mother, it's a different type of job. It is a job nonetheless when you look at the hours you put in. But
put in the work, put in the hours.
Demonetized.
No, I think I could say that.
No, you can. You
okay.
can. I'm messing. But yeah, so when you think about being a mom, is it anything like you pictured it?
No, it's not. It's way harder. Like 1,000 times harder. I feel like I used to think it's just going to be like a mental game. Like you just need to, once your mind's right and you feel like you know yourself and this and that, like I said, but no. As soon as your newborn baby pops out and you're up and you're sleep deprived, it's a physical game too. And so it's like not only do you have to take care of yourself physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And it's so much harder than just having your own self. It's like you have these other humans that you have to not only keep alive. I know a lot of people say oh, my job is to keep the tiny humans alive. I think that's so funny, but it's our main goal is to get our kids to heaven. And so it's we are so focused on just ministering to them and just, even at this young age, teaching them about Jesus, but then showing them through our actions who Jesus is and the love of God through that too. So
that's good. Yeah, and I think people that don't have kids oftentimes make those judgments with no knowledge and just out of ignorance, and we've even experienced that, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit in this podcast. But yeah, I think it's just out of that ignorance or just lack of wanting to understand almost. But
I totally get the ignorance because that's where I was. I totally didn't understand what even being a mom was. I just you see on Instagram, it's oh, they're cute, they have cute kids, this and that, but it's no. it's so much more than that. But before I became a mom, I wasn't around other kids very much, and so I didn't understand how much it takes out of you as a person, or even as a dad, just as a parent in general. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, I mean, like you see on Instagram like these beautiful smiles from these children, and just the fun family moments, and then all of a sudden you go home and you're having to clean up your child's fecal matter off the ground in the bathroom. Yeah. So it's like it's more than just those, and everybody knows that, but nobody really knows what it's like until you're in that in those shoes.
Or somebody comments about how well behaved Zoe is, but at the moment, oh, here she is.
What's up? Say hi.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, close the door.
As soon as like somebody compliments like, oh, Zoe's so good, well behaved, and then it's like she's just like acting out like crazy, and I'm just like, yeah, sorry. Like those are the type of moments that no one really prepares you for. It's hard.
Yeah, it is very hard. So I have some questions to the viewer. Have you guys ever felt inadequate? And it's kind of, I would say, a rhetorical question, because it would be like, yeah, you know.
I think we all have.
Yeah, we've all felt inadequate. And we've all felt like nobody's cared before. And it sucks because, you know, we want to feel that significance in our life. We want to feel important. And, you know, to somebody, we are. Let's just be real, whether it's our mom or dad or, you know, friend. To somebody, we're important. But in the broad sense of things, sometimes we feel inadequate because we see all these people on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, whatever form of media that you see people, and they have a huge following. Everybody loves them. Like, they're willing to drop stacks just to go see them perform or hang out with them. Like, it's crazy. Like, those are the types of people that we like kind of long after to be like, and we aspire to be like. And it's sad because we've kind of lost ourselves in the midst of that, and we've lost ourselves to the point where we now have a lack of confidence. And for me, that's a big struggle. Like Jordan will tell you, I do not have confidence in a lot of things. When it's just her and I and we're comfortable, we're both confident, you know. With our kids, we're very confident parents, I would say.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to the broad sense of things, like, it is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard because you look at other people, you begin to compare, and it's not like, oh man, like they don't deserve that. It's like, dang, why couldn't my life pan out like that? Why couldn't I have gone to school and done that before I became a parent, or before I did this or that? And you begin to get into those things, and it really sucks because it affects the way you work, it affects the way you talk, it affects your identity as a whole, like how you look at yourself in the mirror and how you look at yourself mentally. And so, in that, you just begin to feel really unimportant. And I know, for instance, like, there's several times in my life where I've just felt unimportant. And work has been a big thing where I've felt unimportant or not necessarily like appreciated. And it's many jobs. I think the only job that I always felt good at was Trader Joe's, because literally that was like the most healthy environment I've ever worked in.
You felt valued.
I did,
as an employee.
It wasn't that people were like, you know, trying to, you know, be a butt kisser, but like legit, like these people like really cared about me and they really wanted to see me succeed. Even when I left Trader Joe's, they threw me a going away party. That's never been done at any other job I've worked at.
Yeah, and you didn't work there for that long.
I didn't work there for that long.
It's not like you were there for 5 years.
No, I was there for 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. And so when I talk about work, it's hard because like you're like, because of performance, and that's also another thing. Performance is there's so many things in life that is just driven by performance. How well you do it, how quickly you do it, how efficiently you do it, etc. And it sucks because you could feel like you're doing a really good job, and to somebody else, you're like, you're doing the worst job ever.
Yeah.
And it's like there's always a critique. Like the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth, a critique, and it's like, dude, really? Like that's how it makes me feel. I'm like, the first thing is like, dude, really? Like, why am I doing this at all? Like, to begin with, like if this is not something that I'm not good at doing, or they don't have a good perception of what I'm doing, then for me, I kind of go into shutdown mode. Like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't want to deal with it. And that just tears down the confidence. Just like tearing it down one step at a time, like all the way down, and it feels like I'm as small as an ant. And at that point, you feel like anybody can squash you. So like your loved one, your kids, a friend, it just like dwindles you down. And so I wanted to talk about a little bit about normalizing encouraging one another, normalizing complimenting one another, because there's not enough of that in our world. I think it's always like, man, this guy really sucks. This guy does not have a good voice. This guy can't build this for crap. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He can't make beats. Whatever the avenue of life is that you're critiquing. There's so many things that we could say somebody is doing wrong, but there's also so many things that we could say they're doing right. Yeah. And unfortunately, our minds as human nature, just our sinful nature, is to automatically look at what people are doing wrong. Yeah. And it's because of stuff in our own hearts. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk today about looking inward to affect the outward. If you really look at yourself, evaluate yourself, and you go up and down like, okay, what is going on inside of me? Then I can help somebody else. Because you might think you're helping somebody else, but out of your own insecurity, out of your own pride, out of your own issues, you begin to tear another person down. Yeah. And I've done that. I was a youth pastor for 2.5 years, and I know I did that. Not on purpose, but on accident, because I was not evaluating my own heart, and I said things that I should not have said. And unfortunately, it costed me. It costed me a good relationship into a bad one. And so it's unfortunate how those things pan out, but if we begin to look inwardly and say, like, how can I be a better person? How can I speak better? How can I look at people with love? How can I not pass judgment so quickly? Because we don't know what people are going to at home. We don't know, like, what people are really dealing with. And I really started to have my eyes opened about, like, in 2016 is when I really started, because that's when like all the social justice stuff started kicking up. Mm-hmm. And like there were so many people, it was either this is right or it's wrong. And for me it was like, no, we need to deal with this situationally. Yeah. Like, what did this person go through? And then I noticed that other people's opinions were really affecting those around me. And so I took it upon myself to try to bridge that gap, because I come from a background where I was always in the ghetto, like almost every day at my church. And then I grew up from different values than certain people there. So I knew the intricacies of both parties. Yeah. And so looking at myself, I had to say, well, how can me going through the things I've done and I've been through help these people? And you kind of have to learn to bridge the gap to help people in need when they're feeling inadequate, when they're feeling worthless. Because when you look at yourself and you realize, man, I was at that place, or maybe I am at that place, like, it's painful and it's hard, and it's almost like you don't want to live anymore. And so why do you want to speak ill will to somebody else instead of looking at yourself and saying, what can I fix in myself to help that person? Going back, you're normalizing complimenting one another. You're doing a great job. You look beautiful. These different things, it really helps people. Even if people's love language is not affirmation, it helps, because you never know what they came from, what they're going to, or what they're going through right now. Yeah. And so if you can encourage somebody, compliment them, let them know that they are loved, that they are cared about, let them know that there's hope when there seems to be no hope. I think that's really, really important and really key, because you really never know. You never know. Like, the next day, that person could decide to end their life. And your one comment could affect that in a good or positive way. And so I think we don't have enough time in this world to be wasting it on negative things. There's always room for constructive criticism. There's never room for just criticism, because you're not helping anybody when you just criticize somebody just to criticize them, or because you think they're not doing a good job. Constructive criticism, hey, I see you're struggling in this area, please let me help you. Yeah. And it's not always to be said like that, but you have to kind of learn the person and learn how you can help them. And I think that's really good, is to learn the person and to begin to develop a relationship with somebody. Yes,
I think that's so important. Sometimes we can go in and we could just give unsolicited advice to people who didn't ask. Yeah. And it's like, what should happen is first you create a relationship, a bond with somebody, and then you can speak the truth to them with love.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm really working on, because I grew up just kind of being like, oh, I don't have a filter, I'm blunt, that's just who I am. It's like, maybe that's how I was raised, but at a certain point you have to take accountability for what comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And no, not everybody wants somebody who's going to be blunt and have no filter. I mean, I don't like when people do that to me, so why was I doing that to other people?
Yeah. That dynamic is a little different when you get into the workforce. As far as what I was saying with like people criticizing, because there will be times where your boss needs to like get a hold of what is going on within the company.
Yeah.
And that's always an appropriate thing, an appropriate idea. But the thing is how they go about it, you know.
Yeah.
That's like crucial. And if they're not going about it the nicest way, maybe speak up for yourself. Say like, hey, that kind of bothered me. Like, I don't have a problem with you telling me that I'm doing this wrong, but help me get to where I need to do it right, and maybe be nice while you're telling me, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had those conversations before, but to be honest, like, sometimes I'm way too timid to have those conversations. So a part of that is building your confidence.
Yeah.
And building who you are as a person and learning your identity. And I have 5 tips for me that have worked and that are continuing to work in my life. The first one is do things well to build your confidence. And confidence is gained over time. It's not a one and done thing. Like, you're not going to be fully confident tomorrow. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not a reality. I wish it was, because my life would be different. So if we do things well, we don't have to worry about what other people are going to say. Learn your craft, doing things with excellence, doing them well, knowing that unfortunately you are going to be criticized. But the confidence is there to say, no, just because somebody said something doesn't mean I am that, or I have to stoop down to that level. I know I've done it well. I know I've edited this video well. I know I've put this piece of trust together well. Sorry, that's just something I do in my line of work. I know I have flipped this light switch well. Like, whatever it is, do everything with excellence in your own life to the best of your ability. Learn how to do it. Grow in it. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
And be diligent in that. Number 2 is know your values. If you know your values, you'll be confident in what you have in front of you. If you know exactly how you are to respond with your morals, with your values, you'll know that I can say yes to this, I could say no to that, and be confident in that. Because my value says that's not worth my time, my moral says that's not something I want to partake in, etc. And that's how you really develop a good morale, good values, and you build your confidence by saying, yes, I can do this, or okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. Number 3, do the right thing, even if nobody is looking, right? Integrity, that's really key. That will get you so far ahead, because you're confident in saying, I did the right thing, I have my values right, and I'm doing them well. And so if you're doing the right thing, you don't have to be scared if somebody says, hey, can I talk to you? And you're like, about what? And then your confidence and your self-esteem just goes way down, because you know you're at fault somewhere. So if they caught you in that thing, you know you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
And so if you do things well, if you have good values, and you do things right, your confidence will stay it'll stay at a standard. Number 4 is stand up for yourself. The previous 3 kind of roll right into this. If you do things well, if you know your value, if you do the right thing, you will be able to stand up for yourself. Because you'll be able to say, no, I did this well, I did it honestly, and I know what I believe in.
Yeah.
Right? And so you need to be able to stand up for yourself and say, no, that's not right. And that leaves room for dialogue, because a person will be able to question that, and you'll be able to answer their question with ease, because you're not at fault. I mean, if you had an accident, that's one thing, but you're not purposefully destroying something, right? You're not purposefully trying to create a catastrophe. Number 5 is evaluate everything in your life. And I don't want that to sound overwhelming, but what I mean by that is evaluate the things in your life that mean something to you. Begin to sharpen those things. Begin to understand and take advantage of what is in front of you, and begin to really nurture those things. And if there's something that you've evaluated that you say, I don't want this anymore, then get rid of it. Because you'll be confident and say, I got rid of this, now I have room for something else. Yeah, those are my 5 tips to kind of be confident, and to maintain confidence and to grow confidence over time. And again, confidence is not gained overnight. It is an overtime game. Like, you're just constantly learning yourself, learning other people, And as you begin to learn how powerful the words yes and no are, you'll begin to even become more confident.
Or even being learning the power of silence sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that you don't always have to have a rebuttal.
Yeah.
You don't always have to over-explain things. It's like that could bring so much confidence and like stillness to your heart as well.
Yeah.
I will say with confidence, something that has happened to me is in my early young adult years, like 19, 20, even 21 when we first got married. It's like I was such a confident person. I was so on fire for God. I
relate to that, yeah.
Yeah, I was so like just knew who I was, knew what I want to do. This is my goals. I'm going to college. I'm working hard. I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden, I became a mom.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden, I became a wife. Or all of a sudden, I stepped into a different role. And maybe for you, it's like a different role that you stepped into. But for me, it was like, oh, okay. So this isn't what I thought it was going to look like. So then all of a sudden my confidence has now shifted to where I'm not like somebody who maybe, you know, in my early young adult years, as I was saying, like I was on stage all the time at the church or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like I've taken a back seat, but I'm still confident in that. At times it's hard, but if I keep these values that you were saying, like doing the right thing, do things well and all this, and if I keep doing that, it's like it doesn't really matter which avenue your life takes, as long as you just keep instilling and implementing these steps into your life. I think that's really important and really key. Yeah,
that's really good. And I think like as you begin to build your confidence, take note of who is around you when you feel your best.
Yeah.
Like that's really important because you want to keep those people around.
Yeah.
And those people that are not helping you be your best, you need to spend less time with them. You can be encouraging from a distance. Don't be afraid to say no to somebody to hang out or to be around them. Because, unfortunately, we're around a lot of people that just are very negative sometimes. Yeah. And so if you can either be really positive, if you're confident enough to be that positive influence in that room, do it. But if you're like, man, I'm working on myself, I need to be confident, I need to know who I am, I need to know my identity, then I think that being in that room is not for you.
Yeah.
And that you should take your time and you really should become in a place where you can be that person. But really focus on yourself to get yourself better to really affect those that are around you. Because if you're good inside, you're confident, you know the truth, you know what's right, you can go out and be a positive influence on others around you. Real quick, want to go back. If you're like, man, how can I take note of those who are around me when I feel my best? When I can't really apply that, you know, because maybe the people that are making me feel like I'm at my worst are the people that I work with, or the people that I live with. And that's when you have to kind of learn how to overcome the things you can't control. And the way you overcome those things is by not forcing those things. You don't want to force anything. So you can only control yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's really important, again, to look inward to affect the outward. What can I do as a person to make this better for me and even them? And so I would say learning how to keep your mouth shut, not speak out of anger, not speaking out of bitterness, learning to kind of keep your head down and just grind on, and to not become so easily offended. And that also will help build your confidence, because if you're easily offended, confidence goes way down. That's something that I personally struggle with even right now. I'm easily offended, specifically with certain people. And so if I don't learn how to kind of filter those things and just let them go in and out and take in the good things that I can, if I don't do that, then my mood just goes way down. And I come home from either work or from being out, and like my wife knows if something's happened. She knows. And you have to learn how to overcome those things that you can't control. And even as I'm reminded as like overcoming those things, there's things that as a mother, and I kind of want to open up that door real quick for you to speak. Like as a mother, there are so many things that are said, so many people that have different opinions, and motherhood is often put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of hear what you have to say about that, because I know that you've experienced those negative things and you've kind of had to learn how to overcome them kind of on your own, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few people, even people that are close to me, kind of like downplay my role as a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Or like a lot of people just, I feel like a lot of people think like you just sit on the couch and just chill all day, or it's just like the easiest job ever. And number one, I want to say that I feel so blessed that I get to be a stay-at-home mom. I know a lot of women and moms, working moms, would like to be a stay-at-home mom, so I want to be careful with what I say, because it's like the best job in the world.
Yeah.
But then it's also the most thankless job in the world. And it's like very much put on the back burner. And I think being a mom or motherhood in general is viewed as something secondary for a woman. People like see, and see, I want to be careful too, because some women, they really want to, go to college, have a career. And that's fine. I'm not saying that's totally up to them.
Yeah.
But the issue that I have is that, but then when a woman wants to say, oh, well, my dream is to be a mom, then it's like looked down upon. It's like, well...
And we've had people do that even in our own situation.
Right. And it's like, well, don't you want to, like, get a career? Don't you want to educate yourself?
Yeah.
Like, educate yourself, or, whatever. And actually, really, I was inspired by your younger cousin, because I said, what do you want to do? Because she's a senior in high school right now. And I said, what do you want to do? And she said, honestly, I want to be a mom. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, that's my dream.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I'm like, whoa, because I'm very timid to say something like that. Because although I do have different goals and aspirations at this time in my life, like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. That's what I want to be. But I get timid to say those type of things because of the responses that I've received in the past of like, well, what about this? What about that? Like, are we going to leave the saving of the world to the men? Come on, ladies. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So, and it's like, being a mom is such a superpower. It's such a superhero. Like, I'll just say this, is that maybe, someone in the church, like, their job is to speak on stage and they're a woman. And that's amazing. Yeah. Like, or they're just, not just, but there's someone who stands at the door and hands out, like, the welcoming things. Like, that's amazing. Like, we're all so, we're also called to different things. But, like, my calling at this moment is, like, I'm raising the next generation.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's amazing. And I was listening to, actually, Ben Shapiro, and he was saying that the name Eve, in Hebrew, it means the mother of all living. And it's like, when you think of that the name Eve, the name that Adam gave the first woman, who we all have in ourselves as women, is the mother of all living. Like, we are named after what we do. Like, what's our primary role is, like, having children and raising those children. And so I'm just trying to be very careful with what I say, because I know that some women don't even want to be moms, and that's totally fine. But what I'm speaking to is the people that have spoken down to somebody who wants to just be just a mom, whatever that means, because it's like, that's so amazing. And it's like, I just want people to see, because as a society, it's like, looked down upon so much, and I think it's just as important. I mean, it's so important, the role that mothers have in children's lives, and just as important as a mom, or as a woman, who wants to go out and get a degree and have a career. Like, my two best friends both have degrees, and they're both, one of them's working toward their career, and one of them is working in her career right now. And that's, like, awesome. And I support them fully. And they support me fully as being a mom. But that's how it should be. Yeah. But some women, they're so stuck on, comparison and these other things that they're just like, oh, well, why is she doing that? Or, whatever. So I want to just say, like, I have experienced people looking down upon just me being a stay-at-home mom, And I'm so grateful that I get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a hard, thankless
I'm
job.
grateful that you get to do it too. I don't want anybody else raising my kids. So.
Yeah, I mean,
kids.
Yeah, I'm blessed that I get to do that, but it's very hard, and especially when people don't see it. Like, they're like some people have even said, like, well, don't you want to work in ministry? I am. Yeah. I'm working in ministry. This is my ministry right now. This is my kids and my husband. Yeah. And yeah, maybe one day I will want to be back on a stage, or maybe one day I will want to like lead a small group or preach. Mm-hmm. And that can always happen. But it's not like we go around asking like these women with careers like, oh, well, you know, don't you want to do this? Don't you want to? It's like, you know, you don't see that too much, but it's like, when I choose something different for my life, like, oh, are you running from the call of God? Like, how many times have you and I been asked that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, are you running for the call of God? No, we're not.
My life's just different than what other people thought it would be.
Exactly. It's like, my life is just, I'm just following what God has for me at this moment. This doesn't mean that forever I'm going to stay at home and, like, change diapers. Like, obviously my kids are gonna grow up and they're not gonna be as dependent on me, and they're going, oh, don't even get me started on that, I'll probably start crying. But they're gonna be their own person one day, and then that's when I feel like maybe I'll figure out what God wants me to do at that point. But no, I'm not running from the call of God. No, I am not. I'm still working in ministry. This is my ministry. You are my ministry. And you know, just simple things. I think also like an encouragement I want to give, because if a stay-at-home mom is watching this, or just a working mom, any type of mom, you guys are all superheroes. If you guys are watching this, I just want you to know that anything that you are doing in the household is worship. Like, if you are just like changing diapers all day, if you're just doing dishes, making your bed, you know, doing that kind of thing, like, that is a form of worship. People think, you know, worship is when you just go to church and you lift your hands, or worship is just when I'm like doing things directly in ministry. But if you are fulfilling the call of God and walking out what He has placed in your life at the moment, and you're being a good steward of those things, that's you worshiping Jesus and saying, I'm putting you on the throne because I'm following what you have for me and the path that you've laid before me. And like, you're important. You're really, really important.
I think that was a good episode.
Yeah.
Kind of building your confidence, learning to overcome things that people say to you, and just, you know, just being real. Like, sometimes we feel inadequate, sometimes we feel worthless, and it might be because of somebody else's words, but we know that we can be the difference. And that we can be the change through maintaining our confidence, through growing our confidence, and through, you know, not being like those people are being to us, not being like that to other people. Yeah. And so I think that's really important. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We're so grateful to have this platform, whether it be big or small. We're going to be able to share our story, and this is one of many podcasts that we're going to do. We're planning on doing a podcast once a month. Depending on how that goes, we're going to see if we're going to turn it into a real thing, like a actual podcast, like a weekly podcast, like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and etc., wherever you listen to podcasts. So
I would love to do that. Just, you know, do a talking just podcast. That way I don't have to care what I look like. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we're excited to see what comes up. But thank you so much for watching. Please share this video, like, comment, subscribe. Anything to get the word out and to help us, because we want to be able to affect more people in a positive way, and you guys are the way that's going to happen. You guys are really the ones that help us do this. So thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Just the Allens.
Just the Allens.
Yep, we're just here to help people.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we love you. We will see you guys later. Please have a great week. We pray that God blesses you with many new blessings and new ventures in life. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. Please stay tuned for what we're going to be doing. We're really active on all social media, so stay tuned. See ya.
Bye.